after seeing all this shit that doesn't belong in World War II setting, I have to ask, will there be dinosaurs too? How about aliens? My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Yeah, it's a video game, but this is so incredibly disrespectful to the tragedy that is a world war. Maybe they will add Thanos so we can play as him.
So if you haven't heard by now, we had a new trailer revealed for the next Battlefield game, Battlefield 5. Set during World War II, next installment in a major franchise that people love. Everyone's excited, right? Wrong. In fact, it seems like a lot of people are very much so not excited. Look at the downvotes. We're looking at about 50% downvotes right now for the official Battlefield 5 reveal trailer. So what went wrong? What is it that has people so furious that they're already hashtagging not my battlefield? Seems like there's a few things that people are frustrated by. I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks a little different from what I expect from Battlefield, but all right, you know, we'll give it a shot. We'll wait till we see some real solid gameplay. For the most part, this is all just a cinematic trailer, so it's hard to get too upset, right? A lot of people are upset, so let's try to figure out why. One of the major complaints that I saw was that it's a bit too cartoony, which, just looking at the footage, you have to at least admit it's kind of straying a bit from the direction that you expect. And also, we have to keep in mind that this is supposedly set during World War II. This is an alternate version of history and reality, right? Because is this really what World War II looked like? Not that I'm particularly I need my games to be perfect representations of the settings that they're placed in, because they are video games after all. I don't know if any of you have played Battlefield before, but realism isn't exactly its strong suit. But I guess there is a distinction to be made between random crazy stuff happening within the gameplay as opposed to kind of the setting that it's placed in rooted in reality, at least somewhat. It hasn't been 100% perfect in the past, so these complaints even, I'm scratching my head a little bit. Other complaints that we saw was about the trailer being just a bit too over the top, like someone tosses a grenade gets shot, airplane explodes. As silly as that is, again, it kind of falls in line with a lot of the silliness that you see in actual gameplay of Battlefield games. And then we come to the issue of women in the game. And this was interesting because I didn't see a lot of actual complaints. There were some, yeah, but most of what I saw was people complaining about other people complaining that there were women in the game. I didn't actually see a lot of people being like, women, no. And then we have people arguing about the kind of the sanctity of respecting World War II as it was and not misrepresenting it. But once again, I'll go back to the fact that it's a video game, it's a Battlefield game, and if you've ever played these games before, the gameplay has never been even remotely realistic to what an actual war is looking like or representing. So how upset can people really get about that? So yeah, it was interesting. There are clearly people not happy. Look at the like to dislike ratio. There are certainly people that aren't loving this. I don't believe that there's such a large portion of people who are upset that there's women in the game. It seems like for the most part, it's looking a bit cartoony, it's looking a bit over the top, and it might not really be as rooted in reality as they maybe expect from a Battlefield game. I mean, I guess I understand that, but at the end of the day, I really have a hard time caring. I don't care about the setting. I don't care about the color palette. Is the game fun? That is literally the only question and the only factor that matters to me. Put it in space for all I care. But maybe part of it is just kind of the presentation, because yeah, I don't think people would be so bothered by it if this wasn't presented as this is World War II. They need to at least come out and say this is an extremely alternate reality version of World War II. It feels so weird even talking about this. Never have I played a Battlefield game and been like, this is what war was actually like. Oh yeah, I could have totally done this. No, not even close. Whatever I feel, clearly there are people who are bothered, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how the whole upcoming months plays out when it comes to Battlefield 5. There are certainly some people who don't like the color palette, who don't like that it's supposedly set in World War II, but doesn't look like it's set in World War II. People will always find something to be upset about, which I guess it's great for me because it gives me something to talk about. So that's all the stuff about the Battlefield 5 trailer. There's a couple other things going on. We actually had Dark Souls Remaster come out a day before we expected it. I spent some time with it. It's as hard as I remember. Okay, that's not good. All right. Off to a great start, everybody. The Dauntless open beta has begun. I've had actually surprisingly a lot of people asking me about that. They want like my opinions or a review or something. I was planning on doing a video. I wanted to do a video this week for when the open beta happened, but I just didn't end up getting stuff done. I'm not really great at prioritizing my time to make my videos. I'm gonna work on that, don't worry. And then the final thing is next week we're seeing the release of Bless Online. That is also something that I wanna play and talk about. And just to wrap up all this Battlefield 5 drama, I understand that there are clearly, again, people upset. There's no question about that. I get some of the reasons why they're upset. Not that I agree with them. It's colorful, fine. It's maybe over the top and unrealistic. It's kind of always been that way. It might not be 100% historically accurate. It's kind of also always been that way, except this time they're pushing the envelope maybe a bit more than they have in the past. Hey, they're trying to compete. The shooting market is a competitive one. You know, they're trying new things. I'm not terribly surprised. I'm also not terribly worried. Who cares if it's not super realistic? All that matters is the game fun to play? Am I wrong? Some people think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. Opinions, right?